Looking to take your financial knowledge to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to Ask Ralph, offering accounting, technical, and financial advice. Whether you're looking to save taxes or improve your business, he's got you covered. Here's your host of Ask Ralph, Ralph Eastep Jr.
Hello and welcome back to the Ask Ralph Show. My name is Ralph Eastep Jr. I do this show every week and we talk about all kinds of interesting topics. Well, with it being tax season now and tax filing just recently got started, I thought I'd take a few minutes today and talk about some reasons why you might want to file your tax return early. You know, the bottom line is you're usually better off to get your tax return as soon as possible, especially if you're due a refund so you can put that money to work for yourself. So obviously, the number one reason to file early would be you'll get your refund sooner. The sooner you file your taxes, the sooner you'll get that refund so you can put it towards a large purchase. Maybe you put it towards retirement savings or whatever else you have in mind. Maybe you've got some debts that you want to pay down. The thing is, when we're talking about getting your refund sooner, and we can talk about this in the future in another show as well, but don't just blow the money. I mean, there may be some really good uses, and maybe we'll do a show in the future about that and talk about some great usage of, using your tax refunds to do some things with. I see a lot of people, they use that for either a lump sum purchase or maybe, they use it to pay off debt from Christmas, or maybe they pay their property taxes or something like that. So it's really something to take a look at and, consider, the sooner you're filing, the sooner you're going to get your refund. But just make sure you got all your paperwork together before you start it. Now, the second reason to file your return early would be you reduce your chance of falling victim to tax identity theft. Now, in our practice, we haven't seen a lot of this, but we've seen some of it. And generally, it comes as a big shock to a client when we file their tax return and, we get a kickback from the IRS. It says, wait a second, somebody's already filed a return under this Social Security number. So one of the things that we recommend, obviously, take care to keep your information safe, your Social Security number, date of birth, and all that sort of thing. But one of the things you can definitely do is if you file early, there's less likelihood that an identity thief would be able to file before you get to it. So basically it's a race to file, if you will. And that's because, you're going to collect your refund and all that, and you'll be the first to file. So if they try to file a return that's using your information, they're going to get that return's going to get kicked out. And if you are the victim of identity theft, there is a process that the Internal Revenue Service uses, and they have a form. That form number is 14039. And I'm not a one that just quotes forms. You can go online and do a search, IRS identity theft. And there's actually some very good resources on the IRS website that talks about this. They tell you exactly what you're going to need to do. You're going to need to contact the IRS and fill out and send them form 14039. You're also going to want to connect to notify the Federal Trade Commission and check your credit reports because you want to see, generally, if somebody's doing identity theft on your tax return, it's a pretty good possibility they're doing identity theft elsewhere. And we've done shows about identity theft and, ways to protect your information. But definitely filing early is one of the ways you can do that. So a lot of people say, well, I'll just put it off and I'll file later, I'll file before the deadline. But, there is definitely a call for filing early. Another reason for filing early, and this isn't a great reason, but it's a reason that's, it's a legitimate reason. And let's say that you're going to owe money this year. And I've had some clients already call this year, and I've had one client actually came in and got his taxes done already, and he owes quite a bit. And see, here's the thing. So by filing early, he knows exactly what he needs to have ready by April 15th. It also, and this is a part a lot of people don't think about, it also gives you the option to change your withholding in the current year. And that's one of the things that I'm really concerned about going into 2019, because I really believe the IRS adjusted the tax tables too aggressively. And as we're doing tax returns, I think we're going to see people getting lower refunds or even maybe owing if they didn't generally owe before. So if you get your return done early, even if you owe, you don't have to pay until the filing deadline. So that's a popular misconception. Just because you file your return in February or let's say in early March, that doesn't mean that the tax is due. The tax isn't due until April 15th. Now, there could be some caveats to that where if you underpaid your taxes last year, there may be some underpayment penalties, but that's a whole nother discussion. And it's something the IRS is actually aware of, and they're doing a lot of waiving of those penalties. But bottom line is if you file early, it's going to give you the ability to, number one, let's make a course correction before we get too far into the year. And secondarily, it may give you the opportunity to put away some money over the next several months so that by the time April 15th rolls around, you're ready to pay those taxes. Now, another reason, and this is going to be a bit self-serving for me, like I said, I'm an accountant. I have a practice in Middletown, Delaware called Saggio Accounting. And one of the things that I always say file early is that you might find that you need to get help from a tax professional, an accountant like myself. And I say that for two reasons. Number one, let's say, and I think this is going to happen a lot this year, actually. I think a lot of people are going to start doing their own taxes like they usually do, and they're going to get their, TurboTax or some online program, and they're not going to like the results. In fact, I've already had one person that's come in because of that. And if you do that early enough, then there's a very good possibility that you're going to be able to solicit the help of somebody like myself. But here's the thing you need to know. We are expecting a very strong filing season this year for people coming in to see us because of all the changes. So the sooner you can get on someone's calendar like myself, the better off you're going to be, getting that done correctly, and making sure that you still have time to make those changes that you need to make for the current year. We've talked a lot about this on the show, the benefits to using a tax professional. I think this year is probably one of those years when it may be one of the most beneficial. And I don't mean that from the standpoint of, let's go back and figure out what happened. But I think there is a very strong benefit to doing some tax planning this year. And so that's a thing that I have an issue with most tax preparers and actually just about all of the online tax preparation software things. They're not really giving you any assistance in how to change the dynamic of your taxes. And that's the benefit that somebody like myself, a licensed accountant, somebody who does this for a living, we do this every day. It's great. I can put the numbers on the paper. I tell people all the time, I could train a computer to put your numbers on the paper. And that's basically what tax software has accomplished. But that's really not a large value. There's value in being in compliance, of course. It keeps you out of jail. You're not going to get charged with tax evasion. But the truth of the matter is the big deal with meeting with somebody like myself is that we're going to give you some tips and some ideas on how to actually make a dynamic change and improve your tax situation. You could just come in and give me your information, give me your W-2s and 1099s. That's great. And I'll tell you what you owe or what you're getting back in a refund. But, one of the things that I do with my clients, and I think there are other accountants that do this, we sit down and talk about, what could we do better? What are some things that you could do to save more money, which may trigger, let's say you're going to max out your 401k or your 403b or 457b retirement plan. Maybe there are some itemized deductions you hadn't considered. Maybe there's some things that you didn't even think of, when you were doing the tax software because it just didn't come to mind. So I hope this was helpful talking about why it makes sense to file early. So I'm going to go back down and one more time. You'll get your refund sooner. You might avoid having identity theft. You'll have extra time to make some adjustments or pay if you need to. And if you feel like it, it might be a good time to find a tax professional. So if you're interested, you can reach me at askralph.com. That's ASKRALPH.com. You can set up an appointment right on our website, and you can learn more about our podcast.
You've been listening to Ask Ralph, brought to you by Saggio Accounting Plus. Please subscribe to and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a rating and review. Our podcast is produced by Carolyn Peters. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Ask Ralph Media. You can also hear me each week on 1450 WILM and on 1410 WDOV in Delaware and on the iHeartRadio app. Submit your questions or ideas for future shows by sending an email to AskRalph@AskRalph.com.
The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Saggio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.